Good evening, and welcome to Inside News. I'm Serena, and we're bringing you the stories the world isn't watching closely enough. The quiet shifts, the overlooked developments, and the voices drowned out by mainstream headlines. Let's illuminate what's happening in the shadows. We begin in Africa, where environmental justice and economic transformation are colliding. In Zambia, farmers have launched legal action against a Chinese mining company following a toxic spill that contaminated farmland and water sources. The case spotlights growing concerns about regulating foreign mining operations across the continent, as local communities demand accountability for environmental damage threatening both agriculture and public health. Meanwhile, Ghana continues expanding its Year of Return initiative, now in its 6th year, actively courting diaspora Africans with streamlined visa processes and cultural programs designed to boost investment and tourism. It's a quiet nation-building strategy that's reshaping connections between the continent and its global diaspora. The impending expiration of the AGOA trade agreement between the United States and African nations threatens thousands of jobs, but also opens discussions about more autonomous, diversified trade frameworks. And in a blow to South African football, FIFA has docked World Cup qualification points after the team fielded an ineligible player. A ruling that raises questions about administrative oversight in national sports programs. 4 years after the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, markets remain frustratingly fragmented, though experts believe economic integration is still within reach through infrastructure and customs reforms. Turning to Europe, geopolitical tensions are driving unprecedented security measures. Denmark has implemented a complete ban on civilian drone flights ahead of a major EU defense summit, with France, Germany, and Sweden deploying military personnel and anti-drone systems to Copenhagen. The move reflects escalating concerns about airspace violations that are becoming alarmingly routine. In Poland, Taiwan's foreign minister made a pointed appeal during his visit, urging Europe to stand with Taiwan against authoritarian threats, drawing deliberate parallels between pressure from Beijing and Moscow. It's a diplomatic push that challenges Europe's cautious balancing act in the Indo-Pacific. Germany's defense minister has stated bluntly that Putin seeks neither ceasefire nor peace in Ukraine, calling for strengthened European unity as President Zelensky proposes a joint air defense shield with NATO allies. Meanwhile, the EU Council has approved streamlined carbon border adjustment mechanisms, advancing the bloc's green transition agenda. And in a story that underscores media freedom debates, German state broadcasters have reportedly suppressed a documentary examining alleged US funding channels in European elections through organizations like OCCRP, raising uncomfortable questions about foreign influence and editorial independence. In the Middle East, diplomatic maneuvering continues. President Trump is set to meet Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu at the White House this week, with discussions expected to focus on regional security and bilateral agreements amid ongoing Middle Eastern tensions. The meeting comes as hopes for a Gaza truce remain tentative at best. Elsewhere in the region, the Taliban has released an American citizen from detention in Afghanistan, a development that could signal shifting diplomatic winds and potential openings for prisoner negotiations. It's a small gesture, but one being watched carefully in Washington. Across the Americas, domestic policy shifts are creating ripples. The IRS is phasing out paper checks for tax refunds starting September 30th. Forcing millions of Americans toward digital payment methods in what officials frame as a modernization and anti-fraud measure. A troubling report reveals that massive redeployment of federal agents to ICE for border enforcement may be weakening homeland security in other critical sectors. The quarterly hog inventory report shows U.S. farmers contracting herds amid price volatility and rising feed costs. a shift that could impact agricultural markets domestically and internationally. Beyond the headlines, local stories matter too. Montana's Bobcats are back in action against Eastern Washington, energizing the community and boosting regional tourism through collegiate sports. In the Asia-Pacific, diplomatic and economic currents are shifting beneath the surface. China and North Korea have reaffirmed their bilateral ties with pledges to protect multilateralism, a united front against international pressure that bears watching. Investment trends tell their own story. Hedge funds have executed their largest weekly sell-off of Asian emerging market equities in over 5 months, according to Goldman Sachs. Reflecting broader global economic uncertainties. In a striking protest, the Indian cricket team refused to accept the Asia Cup trophy from the ACC president following their victory, a gesture highlighting administrative and political tensions within regional sporting bodies. And Pope Leo has offered prayers for typhoon victims across Asia, calling for international solidarity as communities recover from devastating natural disasters. ASEAN observers are now investigating cross-border shooting incidents between Cambodia and Thailand, a situation requiring careful mediation to prevent regional escalation. And finally, silver prices are approaching historic highs, surpassing $40 per ounce for only the third time in a century, a surge that's energizing mining exploration, particularly in Australia. These are the stories shaping our world away from the spotlight. The quiet legal battles, the diplomatic chess moves, the economic tremors that will reshape tomorrow. At Inside News, we believe an informed global community starts with seeing the full picture, not just the headlines.